Okay, let's see how this goes. I'm still holding the phone in my hand to make this painting, so let's see what happens. I'm looking at that scene. I'm in a nice shade spot. So let's just begin. I have an acrylic set with me today, or acrylic set up in a container. Putting darks in. Oops, that doesn't go there. Look at the spider. Let's see where he goes. The spider was on the drawing board, which I had on the floor. So that's how he got on here. Where are you going, spider? Look at him go. I don't think he can figure out how to exit. Gonna walk on me? He could get on the steering wheel. Okay, he's on the steering wheel. Let's see if he can figure out how to go from there. No, he's on the clamp now. Okay, let's see if he can figure out how to get out of here. Okay, there's a different level there. Oh, he's still on my drawing board. Let's see, I'm going to let him come on here. Come on here, buddy. Come on. There he goes. I got him on the other board now. So he's off. Okay, remember to keep the phone centered on the drawing. It's the name of the game. I want this one to be quicker. Doesn't mean you always get what you want, but we'll see what happens. That's why this area is so large here. I assume I'm okay parked here. Yeah, it can be seen very well from the back. Okay, do I need to put more in for the drawing? I don't think I do, so I'm going to leave that now here. I'm going to set up with my acrylics, so I'm going to stop for a minute and I'll come back with another video. Okay, so we're getting ready to start the painting. I have a set of acrylics set up here that I've been keeping for quite a while now. Doesn't seem to be any mold on there, although there might be just a little bit on the surface, but there's no visible mold because I'm spraying it periodically with 70% rubbing alcohol when I close the container up, and I spray with water too as I'm working. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here, well, there's my brushes in water, point up the way I store them, and then point down as soon as I use them. So I'm going to take a fairly reasonably large small brush And I'm going to mix up just a little wash of warm. I'm getting a shadow on here, light and shadow, so you're not getting a perfect representation. I'm just lightly washing it with a warm so that I have something to oppose the colors with as I'm working. And of course, the idea of opposite color interaction, creating a play of sort of, oops, I need a little bit more color there. The idea of opposites interacting, creating a little bit of a excitement, a fluctuation on the eye, because most of the colors are going to be cool in this. Some will be warm. But so whenever you're putting the cool colors against the warm, you get a little bit of excitement where the two colors meet. And it just helps tie the whole thing together. So that's the reason for an underpainting. You're not getting a very clear vision because of the way the light's falling, but neither am I, so I'm going to go ahead and paint it anyways. So I'm looking now for a smaller brush, just to line work. Do some lining with. That one's a really nice brush, but it's a little bit too small. So I'm using a middle-sized brush, middle small. So I'm going to go to, I think I'll put this, no, it goes better this way. So first of all, checking my safety here. Where's this car coming from? He's coming from the other road. No danger to me there. So, yeah, see? What is that? There may be a little bit of mold on there. But I have both windows open, so I'm good. I'm mixing with opposites, like I'm putting a red in with a green to cancel them both out. And actually red will cancel blue out a fair way too, as will that burnt umber or raw umber that I'm putting in there. So I'm just getting a warm, still a warm dark. Okay. The very briefest of entries at the moment. Mosquitoes. Whenever you park in the shade, you don't want pure sunlight, and you don't want a real cool place either, because you get a lot of mosquitoes. This road will be mostly gray, but it needs a little bit of excitement in it. It has some darker bits in it. Okay. Somebody coming behind me. Okay. That was okay, because he could see me from a long ways back. Mixing up, this is easier mixing with acrylics than it is with gouaches. There's less places where I can mix with. Less complicated is what it is. Now, a little more intense green there. I'm mixing a little bit of purple in with it because I want to kill the yellow a little bit, purple being the opposite of yellow, so it will gray the yellow. Maybe I'm getting a little bit more of the hang of this, of holding the phone while I'm painting. It's better not to speak too soon, though. Okay. Looking for a mid-green here. Mid-value, mid-brightness. Because there will be a lot of dark green there too. Dipping in water to lubricate the paint. Wait a minute, I lost my spot here now. Okay, I see what I'm doing. Somebody turning towards me, which is fine. Here's my old ugly tissues that I reuse and reuse and reuse. I put it somewhere where I can get at it. Okay, I'm going to go to a dark. I'll mix it here. The names of the colors are not so important. What you need to realize is, you know, how dark and how bright the color is. Rather than the name of the color. So you're noticing maybe that I'm mixing a raw umber with a very dark, intense blue. All the blues will be very dark. Well, most of them will be very dark out of the tube and very intense. It's just that you don't see the intensity when it's placed like that because you haven't lightened it yet, so you can't actually see how bright it is. Okay, so I want a lot of blue in that green too. Geez, the light is playing with it, so it's hard to see. And I just want it to be very dark. So I'm going to go in with that. I need a little bit of water. Piss off, fly. This area here has a lot of little bits of sky color in it, which I'll go in and put in later. Again, I'm painting color shapes and color masses for the most part. It's pretty much what I do. Okay. Clean my brush. Wash my brush. But at this point, I think I'm going to go to the gray in the ground, in the road, and I'm going to take a bigger brush. I'm always opposing things. I'm either relating things or I'm opposing things, contrasting things. So whenever I use a small brush for something like that, in another area I'm going to look for something large so that you're not getting too many of the same things in one spot always. So small next to big, bright next to dull, light next to dark. You get that idea of the opposition. So I'm going to look for a gray. Oop, I don't want it to be too gray. And I do want it to be warm. So there, I put a little bit of gray in with that. I could have set my palette up a little bit more. I ran out of the house today and didn't really check anything much. And that's fine. I knew I had enough material here to work with. So if I'm short with something, too bad. You know, you make do and do without, which is good. It's good to be adaptable. See, that's the thing I don't like too much when cars come behind me, but I'm pretty visible. And now I'm going to mix this color with a little bit more gray, and I'll just go to that gray there. Because I'm getting a little bit of a value. I'm getting a little bit of a value shift in this road. So I'm going to try to preserve that. It's interesting when you start in on an area, you've got a fresh area there to work with. You go change it too much, you start fiddling too much and you lose the freshness. So that is something to notice as you're working. I'm going to leave that road for now. The sky. I'll leave those areas for now too. The sky. I'm going to put in the whites immediately. Just brush them in. Being very general. I'm not trying to be specific. So when I look at those clouds, I'm just mentally analyzing it as a shift in three values: white, blue, and a gray. So I'll have some of each. I'm going to mix the blue next. Not very bright. I lost my pink there, which I like to mix with. I used it up, is what I mean. I like to use that pink, that flesh color. That's why I don't really even remember the names of colors when I buy them. I go by what they can do. I analyze as I'm buying them. What is their mixing power? What can I do with those colors? And so when I'm buying that pink, for example, I know it's very good for a lot of things. Underpainting, it's good for cutting the saturation of blues for the sky, which is mostly what I use it for. Oh, that's interesting there. Okay, next I'm going to go to clean this brush out. Is that brush the right size for what I want? Maybe wash it out a bit and go to a gray. Mix in a little bit of that duller blue with the gray. Is that dark enough? Yeah, that's dark enough. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, I'm just gonna lighten that part a little bit. And model that a little bit. I don't really model much. By model, I mean blend light into dark. Every so often, I feel the need to do it a little bit. And that's not working there, so I'm going to remove that. I don't like what that does there next to the road. So I'm going to I don't like that either. See, that's the problem when you can, if you don't get it in the first couple of shots, you can start mucking around. But never obsess and never stay too long in one area, just go on to the next area. So what do I have here? I have a brush that's, what the hell's wrong with that brush? That one's a little too big. Get away, fly. I want a small brush. Okay, maybe this one will do. And I'm just going to work on these areas here now. So I'm painting. I'm never very much concerned about accuracy. I'm concerned about the life of the painting. If the painting doesn't have a life, there's no concern over anything really. The painting has to be alive, so that's always the main thing. Now I have the windows open, and I'm getting a lot of drafts, so the paint is drying and the palette is drying. So every so often I'll spray the colors. It's actually good to have all that wind in the car. You never know what is happening with these paints. When you're keeping them for a long time with water. I'm not liking those colors at the moment, so I'm going to well, I'm going to try to yellow them, but so in other words, sort of exaggerate go lighter than they are here. Problem that I anticipated with that is I could lose the effect of contrast with the road, which I need. Well, I've still got it there, so that's okay. Okay, switching to a small scale now. I'm going to go to a very fine brush and put in, so there's an interesting little brush. Long bristle, soft, very small. So this is interesting here. I'm seeing a lot of sky come through there. Although I'm not really pleased with what that sky is doing at the moment. However, I'm going to go and fiddle with this a bit. You can see in the scene where the sky is coming through in that tree. And this is where it's interesting to actually respond to what you're seeing. You know, how do you process it? How do you process what you're going to use? So some of the things that you notice you'll lose, rather you'll use, and some you won't. So it's important what you decide to use. It's not really so important all what's there. Now you can see those smalls that I entered are really noticeable because of the larger things that are in the picture. Oh, busier road than I anticipated. You can also put some smalls inside these mid values, which I am actually seeing. But I don't want to compromise their shape too much. So it might be an idea not to actually do that. Yeah. See, I don't want to do that. I'm going to take that out. Take out It's okay. Just I took out one. Took out one of those. I do a little bit of pencil work. A little bit of pencil work with these. I have a softer lead, a middle to hardness lead, and then a really hard lead. So I'm going to start with, I've got this one identified with a dot. That's middle hardness. I don't remember what the actual designation is. HB, or I don't go by that stuff. I mean, they are one or the other. They're B or HB, or it's just that I don't use that designation in my mind, if that makes any sense. It's fun doing this. I like doing this. So on something small like this, just these pencil lines read a small scale, so they're really significant actually. The brush can't get small enough to do what I'm doing now. And I'm getting close to the end now. And so I didn't even go to my soft lead on that. I don't think I will. I think I'm going to call it done. Here's my beautiful July 4th scene. It's breezy and blowing and not too hot. It's going to get really hot tomorrow. There's my set. So before I go, I'm going to spray some 70% alcohol on here. I'm going to spray some water on here and close it up. And that'll be ready for the next time. Okay, that's it for today. See you next time.